Oh shit. This looks dangerous. Ay, ay, ay. Some people don't enjoy the camera around here. I don't know why. Hey, how's it going?
Cameras?
I don't watch camera. I don't.
But do you have a license to sell? Yeah, exactly.
Do you have some money?
Money. It's just a lot of people around me here. Jesus. Welcome to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. This is one of those places that a lot of people talk about, but not too many actually show. Is Uganda underrated, or is it chaotic, or surprisingly modern? And is this a place that you want to live at, not just visit? Today, I want to do three things. First, I'm going to meet up with a Ugandan Norwegian buddy of mine that's going to show me downtown in a traditional area of Kampala. We're going to see malls, markets, and real life. What life is actually like for real Ugandans. Next, we're going to go to a modern mall that's quite famous, and we're going to end up in the end at an international restaurant to see what we can find here in Kampala. No research, no expectations, just real first impressions. Come hang out with me and let's go check out what Kampala is really like. So I'm not sure where I'm at right now, but it is kind of chaotic, but I'm here to meet my friend Andrew. Do you want to present yourself to the viewers?
Welcome to Pearl of Africa. I'm a Ugandan, meaning that I was born here, but I grew up in Norway. And now I'm very happy to be back downtown, old Kampala, to show my friend how real Kampala is.
So where are we right now? What is this place?
So we are now something called the old taxi park. Now, when I say taxis, it's not like taxis like you find in New York, London, or Norway. These are actually small buses or minivans, but in Uganda, we call them taxis. And somehow this place is where, if you want to go any direction in Uganda, you come to Old Taxi Park. And we'll take you as north as to Sudan, or south to Tanzania, etc.
But is there a system to this? Because it looks very chaotic to me. I'm struggling to figure out what's happening here.
Good question. There is a system, but I don't know the system. I'm just more impressed of that somebody can just park here and shout out some languages that I don't understand, because again, I'm a Ugandan, but I grew up in Norway. And somehow, yeah, you're supposed to go there, and then this taxi will wiggle himself out of this taxi park.
Well, it's quite impressive to me, and it's kind of cool, you know. It's a lot of people around me here, so I'm sort of surprised to see what life is like here. All right, Andrew, could you show me around here a little bit in downtown Kampala?
Yes, I will try to show you downtown Kampala. First of all, we're in a district called Nakasero/Owino Market. And interestingly enough, is the biggest market in East Africa. So people come from Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and even South Sudan and Sudan to buy things. So I'm going to show you a couple of snapshots of what you can buy here, and people from other countries come here to buy, so you understand the scope of how big this market is.
Let's take a look. So I'm starting to think I've cracked the code. The crowds don't feel that overwhelming anymore, and I'm moving through it just fine. But give it a few minutes, because what's coming next is a whole different level. Andrew, what are we looking at here? What's going on behind you?
So what we are seeing now, we're now in the clothing district, etc. So what we're seeing now is an live auction for used clothes.
Oh, wow.
And these clothes come from mostly Europe, etc. But here, they are bargaining. He will shout out a price, and then you say yes or no to whatever he wants for it, and you just grab it. Like this beautiful lady here and this lady here, they're here to then do this auction to buy those clothes, to bring them back to their stores in the villages, etc.
Wow, this is quite fascinating to see. I haven't really seen anything like this before. Quite fascinating markets.
So now, this is one of those typical places where you buy the fabrics for whatever, we call it kitenge. And then you will buy it here, and then you go to your tailor, and they will make anything from shorts, bikini, or a suit, whatever you want to use the cloth that is called kitenge here. So this is one of the stores that you go and buy it. So this is the store, this one here. This is where I get my cloth to make whatever t-shirts and the clothes you've seen me wearing, etc. But this is my specialty place. And I know the quality I want and how much I want it. Or if they don't have it, they will actually export it or import it to my taste.
Oh, wow, cool. All right. Oops, there's people passing me here. Wow. So this is a textile market, I guess. Pretty cool. I haven't actually been to a market like this before. All right, let's see where Andrew is taking me now. This is an exotic trip for me, actually. Not what I'm used to seeing. Andrew, tell me a little bit about all the people that we're seeing in the streets here right now. They're basically having shops on the streets?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, the ones that are selling foods, vegetables on the street here is actually illegal.
Oh.
But because of the prices of renting, then it's cheaper for them to be on the street to sell what they say. Like this one is selling tomatoes, etc. Now the fascinating thing, we're in the clothing district where you buy material. So you start, if you have a lot of money, you start on the first floor or ground floor. But if higher you go up, like in this building, the cheaper the rent is. So if you know who you're going to buy from, then you don't have to be on the street to market yourself, because then you have your regular customer who comes specifically for you, and they will find you in fourth floor, for argument's sake.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, the closer to the street and where people are walking, the higher rents. That makes sense. All right, I'm seeing something interesting here. Looks like they're selling perfume here. You know, Andrew, what's going on here? What's the perfumes that we're seeing?
The interesting part is that here in Uganda, like also in the Middle East, you can get your own tailor-made scent of your perfume.
Aha.
So where you buy Coco Chanel, whatever in Europe, here you design your own perfume. And this is a typical place where you can get your own fix and specialty.
I see. Very nice.
So now we're in shoe heaven, if you like shoes. Everything here you will see, the deeper we come into this market, is all about shoes.
I think this might be the largest shoe store on earth. There's literally shoes everywhere. It's a long, long corridor there with sub-corridors only with shoes everywhere. Behind me, over there, literally just shoes everywhere and shoe stores all over the place. This must be the largest shoe store in the world, or if not the largest, then one of the largest. It's crazy.
What kind of sneakers do you want? Because they have everything from Jordans, Nikes, Adidas, or you can look at this side, more dressy shoes.
Andrew, I'm just wondering, how much do the shoes cost in this market?
The shoe will range from...
Hey, what's up, man? You want to be on camera?
How's life?
That's good, man.
So back to the original question, they can range from $10 to no more than $30.
So far, it's been really busy, but this next part makes me question my life choices. The market ahead is on another level, and cameras aren't exactly welcome. And what makes it even crazier is that just a little later in this vlog, we'll be in a completely different version of Kampala.
So where are we now, Andrew?
So actually we're in the epicenter of Owino market and Nakasero market. This is where it all started to become the East Africa's biggest market. So we're literally standing in the original street, where there was only one street. to then explode it into like almost like a city with anything you want to buy.
All right, I didn't know that. So this is actually East Africa's largest market. Pretty cool. I mean, that explains the amount of people and stores here. This is crazy. Holy shit, look at this. Wow, look at all the people in front of here. I'm now by the entrance of the market, so this is probably the craziest point, huh? It's hard to walk around with a camera here actually, because there's just people everywhere around me. Wow, wow, this is pretty tight. It's just a lot of people around me here. Jesus. Wow, look at the amount of people here. It is just, literally like wherever I look, it's just people. I just found a little corner here that I'm on my own, but it's hard to move around here. It's literally people everywhere here. So busy. I think this is the busiest market that I've ever seen. All right, looks like Andrew has a plan. We're going through this market. Wow, I think I'm losing Andrew now. Let's see. Oh, there he is. Right in front of me. Let's see. Sometimes it's like literally standing still here because it's just
my best reggae artist ever. This man, we bump into him now. We're bumping into one of the best musicians in Uganda. This one in the market.
Nice to meet you. What's up, man? I'm Ray. Nice to meet you, man. A guy who just passed me, he said, "Hey, this is Kampala," and he's right. It is pretty cool here. So Andrew just told me that the market that we're in right now is for people that have pretty small stores who come here to buy bulk, kind of wholesale for their own smaller stores. All right, trying to come through here, but Jesus, it's a lot of people. Everyone's pushing. It's yeah. Hey, what's up, man? Ay, ay, ay. Wow, that's a lot of people here. Ah, where's Andrew? Looks like some people don't enjoy the camera around here. I don't know why.
You don't like cameras?
I don't watch camera. I don't.
But do you have a license to sell? Yeah, exactly.
Wow, it is very hectic here. Just people everywhere. Sometimes I can't even hear myself thinking. You know, as I'm walking through these streets and these markets, a lot of times I'll hear people saying something like Muzungu or Zungu, which I think means white man. They're just, I don't know, just pointing it out or like saying hi, I think, you know. It seems friendly, you know. Hey, how's it going?
We're not sending.
Huh?
We're not sending.
Sending what?
Do you have some money?
Money. Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at this guy.
Yeah, that is Kampala.
He's got a difficult job, huh? Wow. Look at that. You know, it's funny. Wherever I go here, people are just like, Muzungu, Muzungu, Muzungu. Oh, check this out. This guy has a difficult job. Ay, ay, ay. There's a lot of these guys that are carrying goods to the stores here. What's up? Quite interesting. You know, I think that market we just passed is one of the busiest places in terms of like density of people that I've ever experienced, except for concerts. But yeah, not counting concerts, that was one of the busiest places I've ever encountered. All right, so it looks like we're in a slightly different area right now. What's happening here, Andrew?
Now, from where we started, that's for small scale stores. Yeah. So now we're coming to what we call mid-sized stores. Okay. And if you have a bar, all these kind of things, this is the district you come to. And
oh, hey, what's going on?
So
this guy wanted to be on camera, I guess, but yeah, continue.
So here they buy much bigger bulk.
Hey, what's going on? I hear people saying Muzungu, Muzungu behind me here, you know? I thought maybe she wanted to be on camera. I don't know. I guess not. That was cute though, but sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
So here
again, this is where we buy bigger bulks of everything. Typically, you buy a half a truck of goods. And here, many of these goods go to Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, and Kenya. And also skirts of Uganda. But it's, again, we're still in the East Africa's biggest market. But now we're aware, more like, if you want to buy toilet paper, you buy like a big load of toilet paper, as an example. Yeah.
What do you think? Was that correct information? He knows what he's talking about. Thank you so much, man. I think the word for that area that we just passed is lively. It was just people, energy, shouting, business everywhere. Wow, that was crazy.
When I'm going to have a party, etc., this is my place to go and buy many big sizes or whatever I want.
And is it very affordable here, or?
Yeah, it's cheaper than going to like Carrefour or the normal stores. Because you're buying as a wholesale price.
So how would you compare the prices here to, for example, Norway or Western countries?
Yeah, then I would say that it's like, in average price, it's 50 to 70% cheaper here.
Oh, wow.
Unless it's like a premium brand.
So what are we looking at right now, Andrew? Is this a special place?
Yes, this is very interesting because if you look at the valley, that's where we divide all Kampala. We're standing now literally in New Kampala, and then where you see the Gaddafi Mosque, that's old Kampala. And the mosque you see the roof of is Africa's biggest mosque.
Oh, wow. Right over there, huh?
Yes.
The biggest mosque in Africa. Okay, so what I'm looking at here, one of these smaller vans, those are the kind of bus taxis that we saw from the taxi center earlier, right?
Exactly. So this is a typical taxi. Again, because we don't have a bus system, in this country. So those are taxis. It's confusing.
Except for the one in the background there?
One of those ones that, unfortunately, but that is probably going to Kenya or Tanzania. It's a long distance thing.
Wow, this place is just full of impressions. I'm almost overwhelmed here, actually. All right, Andrew, where are we going right now?
Actually, I'm going to take you to a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Where you can see most of Kampala.
Yeah.
Meaning that we're going to a place called Kololo.
Okay.
And then the view, then you can look at Naguru, where I actually live when I'm here in Uganda.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful sunset.
All right, let's go.
As we say in Luganda, tugende. Tugende means let's go.
Uganda. All right, Uganda. Let's go. All right, so being in traffic in Kampala is not, oh shit. This looks dangerous. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, looks like it's slightly different traffic rules here, I guess. Andrew, you're crazy, man.
Well, it took me a long time to understand the traffic in this country. So you just like do like this, and then let's go.
Okay. Well, let's go, but also let's survive, you know.
You're not gonna give me Muzungu prices, then I'm gonna kill you.
All right, it's common to use motorcycles for transportation here. They're called bodas. How's it going, man? What's your name? Nice to meet you, man. Okay, drive safely, yeah?
Okay, sir.
All right, let's see here. All right, ready to go. Let's see. Okay, slowly, yeah? Not too fast.
Okay.
All right, we're finally on our way to Kololo. But first, look at this traffic. There's just bikes everywhere, swarming around us from every direction. And it already feels intense, but soon, everything will stop, like the entire city just hit pause for something. Something very Kampala.
This is very interesting now. The reason we have this queue is because the president is passing.
Oh.
So he's now blocking the road.
I see.
So we might stand here for like 10, 15 minutes, whatever.
Ay, ay, ay.
So it's the So it's a 10, whatever. If it's like too long, we're gonna pay these guys and then we walk through the thing and grab another borders.
Oh.
But we're just gonna wait.
All right, we got lucky. That was just a 1 minute wait, but it could be longer. So actually what I'm seeing right here, this is Acacia Mall, which is where I want to go after this trip with Andrew to check out one of the most modern malls here. It's supposed to be really, really nice. We're going somewhere higher and higher up in the hills now, so we made it.
We made it.
And I'm happy I survived. Oh my God, I normally really don't like being on scooters, but you did such a great job, you know, like driving so smoothly. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Andrew, where are we now? Or what are we heading to?
Now we're actually in Kololo,
Yeah.
which is the most expensive area in Uganda. But we're going to this bar where you can see a very good view of Kampala.
Oh, cool. Let's check it out. All right, I just made it to the top here and check out this view. Wow, really beautiful. Kampala looks amazing from here. This is a beautiful view. I like the little hill over here. Looks really cool. All right, that's the place that I filmed the view at, and it's called Ivory Restaurant. So, cool place. Here we go. Andrew, you got a beer, huh? I like it. Good thinking.
And I am drinking probably the best lager on the planet, and it's called Nile Special.
I'll try a Nile Special as well. That looks good. All right, I got a beer here. Very nice. Thank you so much. All right, Andrew, what are we looking at here? What's this view?
So this view, what we see there is a hill. Like Kampala is made of 7 hills.
Aha.
So Kololo is one hill.
Almost like your hometown.
Yeah, like Bergen, exactly. And that's what we're seeing there is Naguru.
Naguru Mountain.
Yeah, oh, hill. We don't have mountains
Okay,
until you go to the West Uganda. It's a hill.
Okay.
So I do running here, and where we're standing here, there's a lot of embassies. But my side is more residential.
Aha. Okay, so you live over here, right?
Yes, and if you see those small houses that goes like that, that's where I was supposed to have grown up. If it weren't for that, I ended up in Norway. Yeah. Funny enough. So we're looking at where I was supposed to have been growing up.
I see. And what about now? You live there now?
Yeah, I live there, literally in the house that I was supposed to be grown up in. So the only difference is I'm not in my kid bedroom. I'm actually my mom's bedroom, technically. So it's like a sort of historical feeling for me. So yeah, so the first time I came, I started crying because I was home.
So, if you only saw downtown Kampala, you'd think the city is pure chaos. But then you step into Acacia Mall and it feels like you've teleported. It's modern, organized, international. Same city, but completely different energy. And just wait until you see where we're eating next.
All right, I just made it to Acacia Mall in the Kololo area of Kampala. My first time in a mall here. People are telling me that this one is particularly new and modern. I'm not sure if it's new, but it's quite modern at least. So I'm impressed. This looks really beautiful. Malls are nice here in Kampala. That's what I'm thinking. However, I do think that maybe I got here a little bit late because a lot of the stores are closed here now, and it's not that many people here, but what a beautiful place, you know, really well built and cool. Classy, I gotta say. And this seems sort of like a social gathering place as well. Just look at this cafe right down here. It's a place called Cafeteria, something like that, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, really cool, classy spot that looks like some sort of like gathering spot. So it's social here. You know, I'm guessing that this is probably not an average or typical mall in Uganda. I mean, I don't really know. So if anyone really knows, correct me in the comments. But this looks great, you know, so at least now I know this type of mall does exist here, and it's pretty cool. Like, a lot of the stores are actually closing here, so let's see. I think maybe I'm just gonna move on to the restaurant. There's an international restaurant, actually like a Mexican restaurant here. So that's one thing that I find that's pretty cool, that no matter where I go in the world, most places have a lot of access to international restaurants, almost no matter where you go. I love Mexican food. Haven't had it in a really long time, so tonight I'm doing Mexican. You know, I just spent a month in Madagascar. I really like Madagascar too. It's a really cool and colorful place, I gotta say. But only about probably, I want to say 1 out of 3 people speak English there. So coming to Uganda, it's, for me, it feels very social right now. Meeting a lot of people that speak English, and so it's kind of a relief, All right, this is Kapasa, which is a Mexican restaurant in Kampala, in the Kololo area. And I actually really love Mexican food, so I'm excited to try some Mexican food here. But in this same area, I was seeing a lot of different international restaurants, so pretty cool that you can get all kinds of food here. All right. Look who just joined us here. But this is pretty cool. Andrew, what's the headlines of your story? I know you have a very interesting story, but can you give us the headline?
A very short story. Headlines is that I was born here to Ugandan parents. I'm a black coffee, no sugar, no cream. From that, somehow my parents got divorced, and my father chose of all countries on the planet when he left Uganda, he went to Bergen, Norway, and in the middle of the winter. So that's why I can ski, all these kind of things. Family background, I'm actually a leader of my clan. That means I come from one of 11 royal families of Busoga, which is our headquarters are in Jinja, where the Nile actually starts. So that's why I'm also spending more and more time in this country. But I'm probably one of the few Ugandans who hate the heat. I'd rather have snow and minus 20.
What's wrong with you, man? I escaped the snow and the cold, painfully cold weather of North Europe to get to places like this. I love it here.
Yeah, but again, it's a pearl of Africa. There's a reason why when Winston Churchill was the foreign minister of Great Britain, he traveled Africa, and then he wrote a book called The African Journey, and I said, travel and see Africa, but concentrate on Uganda, because that's the pearl of Africa, and that's why we have the slogan, Pearl of Africa for Uganda.
So can you give me a 1-minute pitch to why you love Uganda?
Again, it's Pearl of Africa, but it's the friendliness. I mean, if you get to know a Norwegian, you have a friend for life, but that takes like 10, 15 years. In this country, it takes 10 seconds, and you have a bunch of friends. It's the friendliness, not too hot, the music is good, and you have people from all over around the world. We're probably the most diverse country in Africa, because again, people come from all over the planet, and they love to be here.
What about you? What are you doing here in Uganda now? Tell me a little bit about your story.
No, so how I came back to Uganda was very simple. I was playing basketball, and then the Norwegian Confederation of Sports asked me if I want to be in a project in Uganda, and then set up something, basketball, to try to develop that. Yeah. And that's how I came back to my roots, because before that, I'd not been in Uganda since 1976, and I came back in 2004 to 5. And then from that, I said I had to help my people. So now I'm investing in coffee, agriculture, healthcare, and also basically also promoting Uganda as the Pearl of Africa and one of the places to be around in the world.
Andrew was the one that told me to come here to Kapasa, not only for the food, but also for some other reasons. Can you tell me, why are we here at Kapasa now?
Kapasa is a very unique place. Because first of all, when you've been traveling for how many hours, 10, 15 hours, depending where you come from, you end up in this place called Kapasa. And with that, it's a very social place. You come here by yourself and meet idiots like me, I'm just joking, but you meet a lot of people, again, from all over the world. Anything from backpackers to people who are diplomats, etc. So you're not necessarily coming for the food, but you're coming for also the social environment.
Very cool, man.
But the food is good. The food is good.
Let's see about that. I ordered some fajitas, and I really love fajitas. So let's see if it's good. Gotta get this on camera. Okay, I think I like this already. I haven't even tried it. Wow. Aye. Here we go. Fajitas. Good to go. Let's try this. Wow, that is yummy. This place really knows Mexican food. So, Uganda, well done. I used to live in LA for many, many years, and Mexican food is really popular there. And I've tried it around the world. LA is one of the best places for Mexican food. The taco trucks in downtown LA, absolutely fantastic. But wow, this really rivals all the Mexican food I tried there. Really good. Great food, great company, and a great first impression of Uganda. I gotta say, Ugandans seem very friendly, very social people. Kind of remind me a little bit about Filipinos and Kenyans as well. So I got a really great first impression here. That's it, I'm checking out now. Until next time, peace, love, and San Miguel light.